welcome everybody to another episode of Head to Head Sports. I'm your host, Brian Parker, and I am here with my co host, Mr. Randall Hargrove, who is in the blue room getting ready to come on in just a second. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in for another week. We are streaming live and direct on Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV. We are also on Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter. We are on LinkedIn and Facebook Live as well as YouTube. And join us on our drive to 10,000 as we are looking for more and more subscribers to the YouTube channel. So please, if you haven't already, check out Empower TV on YouTube and like, share, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel and click on the little bell. It will let you know anytime that we go live or add any new content to the channel. We have our Wednesday show here 6 months during the year for the NFL. And also on Thursdays, we have our main show, head to head with Brian Parker, on Thursdays at 7 p.m. live on all the same platforms as well. Listen, if you guys are business owners, if you hold events, if there's things that you would like to advertise in the area, we know advertising can always be rather expensive, and we'd like to be able to help you with that. So reach out to me. You can send me a direct message or send me an email at the Parker Media, Parker Media at gmail.com. And we can try to come up with something to promote your event, book signings, all kinds of things that we like to be able to get out there. One of the things that we also talk about is Randall's group, Kendrick Colt, performs in the Charlotte area. Check him out on IG for upcoming show times. That is Kendrick Colt, really, really good group. And just to give you a taste of commercials that we can cut, here's a quick one. It's only 30 seconds, but it's from Jermaine Parker Realty. Check it out. Buying a home is one of the biggest decisions that you'll make. Here at Jermaine Parker Realty, we're here to help you navigate through that process. We know that a home is more than just a place to live. It creates memories. Here at Jermaine Parker Realty, we're here to help. Give us a call and let us get started on your journey. All right, just like that. So just let me know again, theparkermedia at gmail.com to talk about cutting you a promo, reaching out to more people at a very, very, very low cost. All right, guys. So we had a really, really good week in the NFL. Randall's having a little bit of technical difficulties. We'll see if he can be able to get that cleaned up just a little bit before we can bring him in live and everything. Hey, Rand, I tried to stall it as much as I could, at least to buy some time in the green room, but it looks like he had to back out of it. So he may just be refreshing his browser or computer to be able to get back on. So we'll see if we can get him up in the next few minutes. But man, we had a wild, wild week in the NFL, a lot of crazy things. So y'all let me know in your comments what was the craziest game this past week to you, and what do you think about these trades, and what's going to be going on over the next couple of days as we near the trade deadline, which is Tuesday, which happens to be the same day as voting day. So look, while you may want to sit there and stand in line on voting day and check on your ESPN app or whatever app you use to stay up with the ongoings in the NFL, hey, it'd be a better idea to go ahead and early vote, because, yeah, the lines are starting to get longer and longer for early voting. I remember when that wasn't a thing. But I can definitely guarantee you that the lines on voting day will be even longer than early voting, unless you go like extra, extra early. So just check that out. Oh my gosh. Panthers are tanking. Yeah, they are. Anthony, thanks for joining, man. the Panthers are tanking. Well, a lot of teams at this time of the year uh, pretty much know, even if they're not technically mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, they pretty much know the year is not gone the way that they want it to go. And it's very smart for them to be able to take any pieces that they have on their team that would be valuable to somebody else and get rid of it. It's like stocks, buy low, sell high. So if you've got and they just got rid of Deontay Johnson, so and I think they were maybe even looking at some other players, and they should. Anybody that they can get value for. This is what they should have done last year at this time for Brian Burns. Instead of waiting until the end of the year and getting virtually nothing for him to the Giants, they could have gotten a whole lot more. Let me bring him in. Looks like he's there now.
So, brother,
What's going on, man?
sorry
Hey,
about that. I had some technical issues, man. Had to do a full restart before they let me in. So what the
that's
hell?
what, that's what I was telling the audience. That it looked like when you backed out, you probably had to do a full restart of the PC.
Catch me up. What y'all talking about?
Well, so I stalled for a while, so I did a commercial and represented Kendrick Colt. Let everybody know. Check you guys out on IG for upcoming shows, and just asked the audience what some of the biggest stories from the past week that they saw. And Anthony replied about Panthers tanking, and like I told him, this is the time of the year where teams, even if they're not mathematically out of it, they know that they're not going anywhere fast. Take advantage of any high stock options you have on your team. It's just like the stock market: buy low, sell high, and
Mhm.
that this is, and them getting rid of Deontay Johnson. While they didn't get much back for it, they kind of got back what they gave to Pittsburgh. Except maybe they got an extra earlier round, but not much.
So yeah,
But
yeah. I definitely want to get into that.
this is what they should have done last year with Brian Burns. Instead of waiting to the end of the year, sending him to the Giants and getting very little back, they should have struck the iron while it was hot. They knew that Bryce Young was a disaster. They knew they weren't going anywhere, and they had given away all of their other draft options and things like that via the Bryce Young trade. The the one thing you had left in your pocket was Brian Burns, and you sat there and you sat on him, knowing that you weren't going to sign him at the end of the year, re-sign him, um, and it ended up you didn't get as much for him. Anthony says, or to say cap space. Well, absolutely, but you do that knowing because you want to go ahead and have as much cap space as you can, because after the Super Bowl ends, the new NFL season begins the second week of March, where you can start bringing in veterans because you can't do everything through the draft, but you can start having cap money available for veterans. If you are a team that is not in contention for the playoffs, don't need that extra player to get you through to the playoffs, this is a perfect time for you to go shopping before the trade deadline pops off on November the 5th, which is also, again, election day. You can go vote, stand in line, have your ESPN app on, and see all the mad trades on Tuesday.
Very important day for everybody, man. For the first time ever, I did the mail-in selection for my ballot. So that is like extremely convenient for those that you can do it. Um, you request your ballot in the mail, they send it to you, you fill it out, get it notarized, send it back. You avoid all of the long lines. I think this is the final weekend. I think Monday is the date for those. But anyway,
Yeah.
there's several options to vote, but the most important thing is y'all need to get your asses out there to vote. There's plenty of our folks who died for that opportunity, was beat up for that opportunity, and mistreated badly for that opportunity to vote. So go out there and exercise that right that our ancestors worked hard for and died for. Also, Brian, appreciate the shout out for Kendrick Colt at the top of the hour. Thank you much, man.
Yes,
We're
sir.
going to be November the 9th at the Brickyard in Uptown, 10:30 for
Right.
those in the Charlotte area. B has stopped by there before. He sees what a party that has been. So y'all definitely stop on in. Anybody that's listening. Now the Deontay Johnson thing. Let's get into that for real.
All right.
So Anthony said Panthers are tanking. They kind of are, but not voluntarily. They don't have the talent to do anything this year. They're 1-6, about to be 1-7. Um, the whole Deontay Johnson thing. So here that goes. A lot of people think that we didn't get any type of value from that trade, and they are absolutely correct. We gave up. Well, we actually got a fifth round pick for him
Mm-hmm.
to go to Baltimore, but in exchange for having that fifth round, we had to give up a sixth round. So it really didn't make a whole lot of sense to people. So here's the real deal. Um, Johnson wasn't going to play for us.
Right.
That writing was on the wall. He signed a free agent deal with us, kind of like a try-it deal in the summer. He's going to come here on a one-year basis to see if it will work. We are now a couple of weeks into the season, and there are mad problems with this dude. He was disgruntled in Pittsburgh. Um, he didn't like playing second fiddle to Pickens when he got there. He was on film doing things like not blocking, not picking up his assignments, not going after fumbles, just walking off the field when the ball's been fumbled. So, according to insider information with the Panthers, the first 2 weeks he was very disgruntled with the way things were going with Bryce Young. Him and Bryce Young were not even speaking. They were not on speaking terms at the end of that 2 weeks.
Wow.
You know how disastrous that is for your quarterback and your number one option not to even be on the same page or speaking. It don't work, man.
Mm-hmm.
So the Panthers have been quietly shopping this guy for several weeks now. But the thing is, the rest of the league kind of knows that he is being shopped. Therefore, why would you buy something when you know it's going to be on the market at the end of the year? It doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
But the Panthers were in such a bind to get this dude the hell up out of the clubhouse because, like I said, he's not been speaking to Bryce Young. He's fallen out with the whole Panther organization apparently since week 3 once he went off against the Raiders, I think it was.
Oh yeah, yeah. When Andy Dalton came in, he had his best game of the season.
He had his best game of the season. Week 4, things kind of went backwards, and things have been backwards since then.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, week 7, he went into the media and he called out the whole Panthers pretty much off organization, saying, quote unquote, I can't be responsible for everything. I could only do my job. There's people out here that ain't doing their jobs. So the Panthers, half of a season in with this guy, already realized they got to get him the hell up out of here, man. But the problem is, like I was saying, the rest of the league knows this. Therefore, they're not going to give up any assets to bring this guy to their team when all they have to do is wait until the end of the season and they'll offer him a deal anyway. Because let's face it, he ain't signing with Carolina, and the rest of the league knows he's not going to sign a long-term deal.
Well, let's also be clear. Baltimore isn't like they brought him in and they gave him an extension.
Right.
He's just playing out the rest of his contract with them.
Yeah. But according to how things will go with Baltimore, he's way more likely to re-sign a long-term deal with them than he is with Carolina. It just wouldn't happen with Carolina. He didn't want to be here. This is the second team in a row. This dude has been disgruntled and not speaking to people and making these sly little comments in the media. So good luck, Baltimore. You got to do a wide receiver, but with that wide receiver comes a lot of damn drama, man. So
some about them Pittsburgh receivers.
I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what it is.
The diva complex.
I'm saying.
But you know, I don't know what to me, when they went and got him in the offseason, it was, I don't want to say a sign of desperation, but it was almost like them acknowledging that Bryce Young was going to need an upgrade of people like, well, Bryce Young ain't have nothing around him. And I was like, yeah, but Andy Dalton did more with the same less talent than Bryce Young did.
Yeah.
So on paper, maybe it did make things look better and things like that. But, still look at the way Bryce Young plays, the way Deontay Johnson plays. if you can't get the ball out of your hands quick enough, having a player like him on the field makes no sense at all anyway.
You're absolutely right.
So it's like the style of the receiver still has to match the style of the quarterback. Andy, the reason Deontay Johnson had his best game of the season is because when the Panthers went to Las Vegas and played the Raiders, Andy Dalton was getting the ball out of his hands quickly. What that does is it slows down the pass rush. Now they have to sit there and they have to play you honestly, and they can't just keep rushing, blitzing, because if they do a whole all-out blitz and the quarterback then got rid of the ball, now you got a lot of one-on-one matchups and things like that, and now these really talented receivers can get loose and stuff like that and produce a lot of yards after the catch. That's his game. But if you've got a quarterback that's having to hold on to the ball, throw off of his damn tiptoes to be able to get it to you, he's throwing it to you, not throwing you open and things like that. It does not work for a receiver like that.
No, the thing is, the Panthers took a gamble with this. They were saying after the disastrous year that Bryce had last year, that his receivers didn't have any separation, right? So that was the main crutch that's been given to him, not by us, not by me and you, because me and you saw through the fucking bullshit. But the national media wanted to say this guy didn't have any receivers that could separate. So they went out and they got a wide receiver that had the highest separation grade in the whole pretty much free agency wide receiver market. So they brought in Johnson. But like you were saying, that came at a risk, because if Bryce ain't going to feed this dude is going to become disgruntled. And then here we are.
Yep.
And here we are, because Bryce was unable to feed this guy.
Anthony says, I wonder what's the other teams that want to trade for Bryce Young. I would say nobody, unless they're in the CFL.
Yeah, you're right on that too. Like, who is actually going to give up anything for this guy?
Trade for him. Hell, the only trade that I know that he might be good for is if Zaxby's and Chick-fil-A have a trade and they want to trade for him and fight over who want him to be a customer service representative. The kid got a nice smile. He can do that. But
can he see over the counter though?
Yeah, he can't see over a counter, but he put some telephone books right there as long as he don't have to like move too much, and he'll be all right. They can put a little ramp back there or something that you can't see. Hell, if they could bring a ramp onto the NFL field, it might do him better. If he had like a little stage or something back there, he could do his 3-step drops on that'd be all right.
Yeah.
He would probably be better, honestly, and I hate to say that, but everybody knew he was short, and some people can overcome, and people will say, well, Brian, what about Kyler Murray? What about Russell Wilson? Some guys can overcome their height and it not be a detriment to them. It wasn't that big of a deal in Alabama, but these linemen, these backs, defensive backs are bigger in all of the positions. So he could get away with a lot of that in college. Just because you were that good in college, it doesn't translate instantly into the NFL. Y'all have to remember that. And these teams have to remember that too. Just like we're going to talk about, we got another team that has benched their number 1 draft pick, number 4 overall from last year, in one Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, we'll get to that one too. Yeah.
Because again, I think teams are finding out. Now, teams have different philosophies about when they draft a player. When you draft a player, you have to determine, is he going to learn more watching or is he going to learn more playing? All the organizations say eventually he has to play. But does that mean that he has to play in week 1? Some of these guys are going to come out hot like Jaden Daniels did and CJ Stroud. Some are going to struggle. Caleb Williams struggled right out of the gate, and he still has up and down performances just like he did last week against the Commanders. Some other guys are just going to come in and things are just going to click for them right off the bat. And it's funny, the ones that they seem to think are going to instantly work sometimes take a little bit longer to adapt, but they look at their IQ, whatever their Wonderlicks and all this other stuff tell them, and they end up being so wrong because they're just not looking at what the tape is showing them, and they're going on all these other immeasurables that at the end of the day have nothing to do with whether this guy can actually get the ball down the field. Jermaine, what's going on? Jermaine says Doug Flutie was short. It's not a death sentence for a quarterback who is a 6'4", but it's nearly impossible to be a pocket passer at that height.
So can I touch on that before you move on?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because you made some good points, man. I just wanted to address those. If you are going to be a short quarterback in the NFL, you had better have some other tools in your daggone pocket in order to be effective.
Yep.
You named Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray has the speed to evade. He's
Yes.
very shifty. So if you're going to be that short and you got pressure coming in on you, you better be out running these guys. And he can do that. He has that ability. You look at Russell Wilson, who's a short guy. Russell Wilson, though, he's fearless. He'll stand in there and he'll take the hit. And he's got a little bit of mobility, not as much as what he used to do, when he first came into the league. But again, part of his thing is being fearless. Baker Mayfield, a short quarterback, but again, he's fearless. You look at Bryce Young, you cannot be slow, for one, because he's not fast enough to get outside the pocket and evade these guys. And you can't be timid and shy, because he's definitely that. He sees the pocket cave in on him. The first thing he's looking to do is to curl up into a ball or throw the ball, where the ball don't belong. So just want to touch on that. When Johnny Manziel first came out, I said the same thing about him. He was just, everybody was raving about what he did in the SEC, being a shorter quarterback, and he had some speed. But I said all along, that speed that he had in the SEC will not translate to the NFL, and it didn't. It didn't.
Right. Hey, just about Kyler Murray, though, just to kind of give guys some insight. Kyler Murray has 344 yards rushing this season. His longest run was a 50-yard scant. That, and said, well, Brian, 344 yards, what does that mean? Javonte Williams, the starting running back for the Denver Broncos, has 1 yard more rushing than Kyler Murray. Tyler Algier on the Atlanta Falcons has only 8 yards more rushing than Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is the starting quarterback. So Jalen Hurts has 255. So when you start looking at it that way, these guys are doing it with their legs as much as they're doing it with their arms. Their legs make their arms dangerous. Guys know that when they rush the Panthers, that Bryce Young is still going to be back there when they come home. With Kyler Murray, you have to respect the fact that if you're too aggressive with the rush, he can squirt out of there on you. He can cut around those edges and take a short gain and turn it into a longer play and convert. Hell, Patrick Mahomes, who looked like he stand up while he run, stand straight up, is more elusive than Bryce Young.
He is. And here's the thing with Bryce, too. It's like if he is able to get outside of the pocket and then maybe break off a 10-yard, 12-yard run.
On the run.
You got to worry about this dude fumbling when he gets hit.
That's the problem.
That's the problem, too.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that go into that. So you can be a short quarterback. For every Bryce Young, there's a Kyler Murray. For every Michael Vick, you're going to find another short guy that can't do it. For every Russell Wilson, all those kind of things. So it's not that short quarterbacks can't do well, but they have a lot more to overcome, and some guys can overcome it and some of them can't.
Yeah,
that's just the truth. There's some guys that play the linebacker position, that play the safety position that are on the smaller side.
Mm-hmm.
Think about Mike Minter. If you walked up and looked at Mike Minter back in the day, you wouldn't sit there and be like, I ain't worried about that dude tackling me. Once Mike hit you, though, you got hit.
Dude, I met Sam Mills in the mall several years ago, even before I moved to Charlotte. Sam Mills is smaller than me, man. But that dude was ferocious. Those that don't know who Sam Mills is, maybe too young to recall that name. He's one of the Panther greats and a New Orleans Saints legend as well. So
yeah. Jermaine and Anthony, I'll jump on your comment too, because we're going to jump into the Richardson situation. Jermaine says, my point exactly, Randall. Bryce needs to showcase some other skills. He's trying to prove himself as a classic quarterback, but the team needs him to run and get outside the pocket. That's true, Jermaine. But I'm also wondering how much of that is Bryce and how much of that are the coaches in his head telling him to stay there in the pocket.
That's true, man. I think it's a little bit of both as well. Uh, it's such a mess right now. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
I believe that at this point, the coaching organization, not the organization, but the coaches do not have a lot of confidence in Bryce being able to do certain things. So they're dialing back the playbook with certain things.
Well, you could tell that at the beginning of last year that
Absolutely.
the it looked like the playbook was like 4 plays for him.
Yeah. They like literally cut the field in half last year.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was almost like nothing existed beyond 8 yards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't even look downfield. And it was laughable because all that really meant was that Jermaine says, well, they need to hire new quarterback coaches. Well, they really need to figure out a lot of things first. Where it's like being in a bad relationship and you got to sit down with the person that you supposedly want to be with and figure out where you guys really are in your relationship. Like, hey, Bryce, we want to be open and honest with you about where we feel like we are in our relationship. We need you to be open and honest with us about where you feel like, and we need to see if we can get this train back on the track. We know that we've pulled you off from the starting lineup and put in Andy Dalton, and we only put you back in once his ass got hurt. But we need to get a good idea of this is what we're going to need from you from a commitment wise going forward. There's a couple of reasons that I say this, Jermaine. Number one is the Panthers have now wasted 2 years of Bryce Young. He has a 5-year contract with a 5th-year option. So you only got 2 more years if you keep him to really have a game plan about what you want to see over those 2 years. Because more likely than not, most starting quarterbacks want to have a deal done after year 3, because they don't want to go into the 4th year almost as a lame duck, not knowing if the 5th year is going to get picked up. But could the Panthers legitimately, after year 2, going into year 3, really tell you with a straight face, he's our quarterback of the future? Hey,
How can they?
we're going to have a higher draft pick in the draft, and under no circumstances will we even contemplate drafting a quarterback. Could any of them tell you that with a straight face? Hell no.
I would hope not. I would hope not.
Then I will go back to Jermaine's thing. Not only should the coaches be fired, everybody on the team should be fired. The owner should sell and everything else. So, but they all need to come into Jesus. Jermaine says they need a divorce and not counseling. They may need a divorce, but you need to kind of just have that real talk in the offseason and say, hey, listen, obviously this year did not go the way that we anticipated. We really thought that by having Adam Thielen, having some bigger targets like Mingo and Leggett, having Deontay Johnson in the fold, having some pass catching tight ends, trying to strengthen up the offensive line, these would be things that would help Bryce be the guy that we saw when we drafted him with the number 1 pick. Obviously, those things did not happen. And there's enough blame. You know how everybody likes to both sides everything. There's plenty of blame to go around on both sides as to why that didn't happen. And blah, 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 blah. And you start the conversation and just kind of seeing the players' posture and everything else and how they approach that can give you a whole lot of insight as to whether this guy's going to be willing to work on certain things, whether it's mechanics, get the ball out faster, anticipating routes, all of those types of things, moving up the pocket, climbing the ladder, as they say, doing a little bit more rollouts where I'm not asking you to take a hit, but if you roll out and you don't see anything, throw the ball out of bounds and live to play another down. But if you do roll out, now you got 2 options. Can we have receivers to start to come back and work their way back to you to bail you out? Can you scramble for positive yards to at least get past the line of scrimmage? Or if you see none of those options available, can you process enough to know when it's a good idea to just throw the ball away and play for another down, play for the field goal? Play for the punt and play field goal. All of those things you got to be able to do as the quarterback.
If I'm the Panthers and I'm on that coaching staff, I've seen enough. I just have, man. I don't know what else they're looking for. I don't see things drastically jumping, and all of a sudden, this dude is a top 15 quarterback.
I don't either. But you know as well as I do that they give so much deference to if you've got the tag of a number 1 pick or a top 5 pick, you get more opportunities and chances as a top 5 pick than if this dude had been picked in the 5th round, he'd been gone.
Out of the league by now.
Yeah, he'd been gone. They wouldn't even remember how to spell his name. Rain says if I was Bryce, I'd clean my locker out at the end of the season. He can rent an Airbnb next year. No need to grow roots.
I hope he's not. I hope he ain't bought a home here. It'd be a poor decision.
At the end of the day, he got $37 million in the bank or coming to him that they can't take away from him because they gave him fully guaranteed contract. What I hope this does is twofold. I hope they really get away from this fully guaranteed nonsense by overplaying their hand. The 49ers did that with Trey Lance. We did that with Bryce Young. The Giants have done that with Daniel Jones. Now, moving on, it looks like the Indianapolis Colts have done this with one Anthony Richardson. And before I get to Anthony Richardson getting benched, there was even a bigger controversy about Anthony Richardson in Sunday's game that they were playing.
The two are related.
Where they seemingly still had a chance to potentially win the game against the Texans. And Richardson taps the top of his helmet, which is normally a sign that I need to come out. And Anthony says, before I understand, okay. And Anthony says, didn't Anthony Richardson only had 1 year in school? They should have had a rule. You had to play at least 3 years in college. We're going to have to thank Maurice Clarett for that one. That goes all the way back to the Ohio State days. If anybody, see, I'm dating myself too, Ram.
I know the name.
But yeah, so, okay. Anthony taps his helmet. It means I need to come out. Now, everybody knows quarterbacks have a piece of equipment in their helmet where they get plays. They can hear plays. It is not a two-way communicator. So they can get plays being fed to them while they're on the field, and they only have a certain amount of time during the play clock to be able to get that in. But he can't on the field say anything back. So he may have to signal from the field or whatever, and the only other signal he can do is do this, and that means I need to come out. So he did that, and he took himself out of one play, and later on, he explained to the media he needed a beat. He was tired.
Yeah, this ain't basketball, Holmes. This ain't basketball, and you could tap yourself out, and there's no problem with coming out of the game. They just throw another sub in there. You are the quarterback of the team. You hold the plays up here.
Yes.
So
the backlash this dude got from everybody, including current and past NFL players, was like, I'm sorry, the quarterback did what?
The quarterback did what? I mean, and deservingly so. You cannot tap yourself out of a game as the quarterback. And we're sitting here in week, 7, 8, about to go 9?
Going to 9, yeah.
So he should be in shape.
Well, see, that was the first thing that I said, Rand, was, is he admitting that he's not in condition? And would they not know that before the game that he ain't in condition?
Yeah. But if he's starting, they're expecting him to be in condition to start.
Yeah.
So that's a him problem.
That is. Now,
this is just crazy, man.
Anthony's question. Anthony, he played 13 games at Florida State, I believe. When they got him and they overreached at number 4. But when they got him, they knew that he had very limited starting quarterback experience in college.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard enough to be a 3-year starter from a college program, much less a Power 5 conference,
Right.
and come into the league and let your game translate and you be successful. What they saw was a lot of potential.
All that potential,
They
all
saw,
that
saw
size.
some raw talent, very, very raw talent. They knew the kid had a cannon on him,
Yep.
but
Yep.
but that cannon didn't mean that he was a precise passer. They knew he had some wheels on him, but you got to know when to run. It's not about can you run, when do you run?
Mm-hmm.
Just having the legs to do it doesn't mean anything if you put yourself in really bad spots and you get knocked out of games like he did last year because he kept you trying to use his running to overcome other things that haven't developed yet.
Oh, this year too, because we
Yes.
popped him. We
Yeah.
knocked him out of the game too.
Damn sure
He
did.
played.
Yeah. This is why Joe Flacco came to this team, because he knew eventually he was going to be the starter.
Yeah.
Because this dude ain't going to stay healthy.
So he's another Trey Lance, man. Trey Lance coming out of whatever Wyoming, whatever school,
something like that, or Montana or something. Yeah.
He only played like 16 career games, if I remember correctly. So Richardson is pretty much the same thing. He played about 12, 13 career games, had one start, which is crazy that a team would draft somebody that high just based on his attributes and not his history as a starter. It's just dumb to me. It ain't like he's a Cam Newton either. Cam stood 6'6", 260 pounds or whatnot. This dude is more of the 6'4", 220 range. And I know he blowed some people over in college, but the NFL ain't college, man.
But, hey, that's like giving somebody that ain't never driven a car a damn Maserati.
Yeah.
I mean, you like, hey, you got a license? No. Well, here's the keys to my Maserati. Go ahead and take it for a spin. Yeah? Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I know that you normally wear glasses. Don't even worry about it. Just drive. And you cross-eyed as hell. Like, really? You want me to drive this Maserati?
So can we really blame Richardson here, or should we be looking at the Colts organization?
And that's where I was going with that was it's not even really his fault, because you knew what he was when you got him. You knew this was going to be a project, and you basically said, hey, because he's so raw, the only way for this kid to learn is to put him out there and let him learn. Okay, well, then you have to accept the fact that you're going to have some days where your quarterback is 10 for 32.
Right. And I remember, way back when we was talking the draft, whenever that was, and I think his name came up as a potential Carolina Panther. And I was saying no. And the reason I was saying no is because he only completed like 50% of his passes at freaking Florida. Do you think that's going to just jump when you get in the NFL? That's going to like get better?
And see, people play with fool's gold. Guy will ball out in a game, and then they'll make you go, that's why we drafted him. And it'll sometimes give you short amnesia, and you'll forget about all them other stanky games that he had. Listen, talent sometimes will get you a game, will get you a win and things like that. But what's going to help you consistently over a longer period of time is going to be strong fundamentals, doing things the right way, the way you prepare, the way you go through every single game. Will your raw talent be able to help you win early? Yes, Cam Newton had a lot of success because of his raw talent early. He wasn't a precise passer. He did have a hell of an arm on him. He kind of was an Anthony Richardson. Hell, he was a damn Derrick Henry throwing the football, because when he took off and ran, defensive backs had to make business decisions. Do I tackle this dude? Do I gently try to escort him to the sideline, or do I sit there and try to throw my arms out and wrap around him and him for a ride? You got to make decisions like that. Anthony is the same way. I ain't saying that if he starts running downhill and I was a defensive back, I would sit there and be enthusiastically wanting to tackle that man. Probably not. But as just a quarterback and I have a good pass rush and I'm rushing 4 and everything, I'm not afraid of him. Not like that. I'm not afraid of him because if I can get home, I'm not worried about his receivers because I think we can get to him before he can make the right read to the right player. So that's what you get with 10 of 32. Absolutely horrible. But he made it worse by taking himself out the game. And now the Colts, who are 4-4, are looking at things going, well, you know what? Listen, if we want to get to the playoffs, more than likely we have to win the division. Right now, Tennessee is a mess. Jacksonville is a mess. The Texans won the game, but they came at a price. They lost Stephon Diggs for the rest of the year.
Ooh, that hurts.
That hurts. Nico Collins is coming back off of an injury, so we don't know what version of himself he's going to be. If there's a time to change the tide, it's now. And who gives our team the best chance to win right now? Now, the problem is this, though. Ever since Andrew Luck said, I'm done, the quarterback room for the Indianapolis Colts has been a senior living facility where they've tried to patch their team together with quarterbacks that have seen better days, whether it was Phillip Rivers, whether it was Matt Ryan. And now they decided, hey, we're going to just start over and bring in a quarterback or supposed quarterback of the future. And that's what they thought they were doing with Anthony Richardson. So when you bring in Anthony Richardson, what you're normally signaling is we're willing to forego some postseason. Because here's the thing. And the Colts need to really answer this question. I understand you want to be competitive for the playoffs, but what the hell sense does it make for you to barely get into the playoffs and get totally embarrassed in week 1 of the playoffs? It ain't going to be, listen, it's just like I said to somebody today on my job. And I was telling them how I don't send an owner certain things anymore about his property. And I was telling this operations manager, I said, listen, what I've learned is sometimes it's better for me just to feed you the sausage than show you how I made it. And all that means is because if I show you how the sausage is made, you probably ain't gonna never want to eat another sausage a day in your life because it's not a pretty process. And what I mean, and so Brian, what the hell does that mean? You know, so your fans don't want to see sausage making process because it's painful. The organization doesn't want to go through it because it's painful. But sometimes you have to go through that process to come out on the other side and have a team. So are you going to have to play your younger players? Or are you going to have to play your more inexperienced quarterback? Yes, for the exact same reason that I brought with Bryce Young. He's in year 2 of a contract. First round picks have 5th-year options. Do you really know at the end of this season if he's your dude? You need to find out between year 2 and year 3 if this is your dude, because now the agent is going to start coming to you saying, hey, we need to go ahead and start talking about an extension because I don't want my guy playing in year 4 and we don't know if we're going to be, if we have an extension or not. So during that whole offseason before year 4, then this is when you're going to start getting holdouts, not coming to camp, not doing hold-ins. I'm there, but I ain't going to do nothing. I'm going to just sit on the side and, just watch and stuff like that. That's when you start getting that kind of stuff. So can you fully say after year 2 going into year 3, if this is my guy with a straight face? Hell no, you can't. And now you had him make this blunder about taking himself out of a game. It's going to take a lot. He's going to have to earn the respect of his team back because, the players around you lose a certain level of respect for their starting quarterback when he does something like that. Look, he could have said anything, Rand. He could have said, hey, my contact fell out.
You'd have.
I think I tweaked something back here. Let me just take me into the blue tent so it at least look legit. Even if because if I go on the blue tent, then I gotta sit out a play. If my helmet come off, I gotta sit out a play. Do something like that. Or better yet, if you stay in the game, hand the ball off. If you're tired, call an audible and make it a running play. You got Jonathan Taylor back there. He gave you 20 carries for 105. Hand him the damn ball.
Yeah, man. Admitting you're tired in the NFL is a death sentence to a skill position like a wide receiver or a running back. But a quarterback, man, come on. That's even worse. That's a death sentence.
Almost.
That's a death sentence. And we talking about losing the locker room with stuff like that. Yeah. This benching wasn't about his 10 for 32 performance. Well, I mean, it was, but that wasn't the full truth of it.
No, the nail was the
Thank you.
Yeah. You already was skating on thin ice.
Exactly.
Went ahead and stomped on it to assure that you were going to go through. You made sure that, hey, I'm going to be in the water, and that's exactly what happened. So this is of his own doing. But I think if you want to sit him for a week, just to kind of say, hey, young man, there's a right and a wrong way to do this. You didn't do that. We're gonna sit you down. I ain't got a problem with that. Hell, I ain't even got a problem if they don't start him, but they let him come in on the second series or something like that. Jermaine says, "Long live Joe Flacco." Man, all Joe Flacco does is when he comes in after being on the couch, he uplifts the team. And that's gonna take us to another subject real fast. But I just wanted to read.
I already know where you're going to, brother. I'm hit studio wagon. I'm ready to roll with it.
Is it funny though? It is funny. So Jermaine says he's the most inaccurate quarterback in the league. Not sure how you get tired throwing bad passes. Bad passes. Hey, bad passes make you tired. They make you. Hey, but you know what? I'm sure everybody else on the team was even tired of watching them bad passes. So
Yes.
there's a lot of tired to go around. My man Joe Lowry, what's up, Joe? Says on a side note, Hornets looking good tonight.
Hey, Mr. Lowry, check it out. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, you got oh wow, look. He already got it. That's what I'm talking about. My goodness. Yeah, so hopefully they get it right. Joe also said these guys need to develop. The cream will rise in due time. And then Joe said, what happened to Diggs? Diggs, was it Achilles?
Yeah, ACL. No, ACL.
ACL.
Yeah.
ACL. So he is done for the year. So I still think the Texans, with C.J. Stroud, always going to give you a chance to win the game. Remember, before they brought in Stephon Diggs, nobody knew who Nico Collins and Tank Dell were.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really knew that much about all of the weapons that he was utilizing and implementing. Now that they even upgraded the running back position with Joe Mixon. So
Yeah.
I don't really, Stephon Diggs was a great luxury for them. But Nico was still getting a lot of the receptions, even with Stephon on the team. So I still think that Texans are still going to be clear favorites to come out of that division on top.
Oh, absolutely. You know, when I said that one hurts, I was more or less talking about their chances against Kansas City in the AFC Championship rather than the AFC South. They're still in the South regardless.
Joe says, he said, I'm tired, boss. He did. He said, no more for me. You can't tap out, bro. You can't tap out. This ain't dominoes. What you tapping? What? Oh my God. I used to pick on people so bad. I'm like, you ain't knocking, are you? Really? So and Anthony said, won't this be another drama with Trey Lance like Bryce Young Future? I mean, look, the NFL is a what have you done for me lately league. And once you get drafted, it doesn't matter where you get drafted. You got to produce. And sometimes it's not your fault where you get drafted if a team overreaches and drafts you. But heavy is the head that wears the crown. They draft you with the number one pick. You just told the entire league, that we didn't feel like there was any other player out there that would make our team better. This is the guy that even when we have less can make more out of. And I don't know if that's what they meant to communicate, because I would have known from the beginning that that would have been the wrong sign to signal to people. Joe says Stroud definitely not putting up the numbers he did last season at the moment. Coordinators catching up with him a little bit. Yeah, that's true. And that's
That's the
always
job.
true. When they
That's
don't
the
have
job.
yeah, when they don't have tape on you the first year, it's hard to emulate you in practice. When they have
Mhm.
a team going against the first team and that quarterback has to emulate you, well, we don't have enough tape on CJ Stroud. I don't know how to emulate CJ Stroud. Um, Now that they have 17 games of tape of him in the offseason,
And a full off season.
in a full offseason, coordinators worth their goal will say, okay, now we got a full year of tape on this dude. Now we know things that he's comfortable with, things that make him a little uncomfortable, and we need to try to make sure that we do a lot more of those things that make him more uncomfortable. So we normally do see that second year drop off just a little bit. He's definitely not consistently putting up a lot of big numbers, but he's still having some relatively good games. This past game, he was 25 of 37 for 285 and a touchdown, but no interceptions. So ball security is one of those things too, that you're not being the reason that your team loses.
Yeah. When these guys who are the best in the world at what they do, I'm talking defensive coordinators, they have a full off season to figure out how to slow you down. They're going to slow you down. Most of the time, we're going to slow you down.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still not worried about Stroud. I think he's a top 10 quarterback in this league.
Yep.
Even through his slowdown, I would take a slowdown season, quote unquote, slowdown season in Carolina right now, as opposed to what we're going through with one Bryce Young.
Yeah, yeah. And then before we go to the next subject, then Joe says, and Joe, you're absolutely right. And um, this is what makes a quarterback pick, top quarterback pick versus a second, third, or even later rounder. And Joe nailed it on the head. He says now he's got to make those 2 to 3 plays that count to win. That's the secret sauce. It's just like I used to joke about in karaoke. And Joe, I know you like a good karaoke. There are certain songs you can sing and you can get away with it karaoke. And I would laugh because people would come up and they would want to do a Mariah Carey song, or they want to do a Whitney Houston song. And I'm like, listen, don't overreach. You can sing most of this song in the key that you choose, but understand there's going to be certain notes that Whitney or Mariah hit that ain't for the common person to try to hit without busting their spleen and other things internally. Don't do it. So just, when you get to that part, what I used to always do and fake it is turn the mic to the crowd and act like I wanted them to do it.
Yeah.
Instead of that frog coming out of me, I'd be like, and do like that and play it off.
You know the game, brother. You know the game. I do it on a weekly basis.
What's that old saying? That's why they make the big bucks. Absolutely. He said, yes, sir, I do. About the karaoke. So that's what you do, because there's certain things that make them so special that you want to make sure that you understand, hey, this is why they got the contract and why I didn't. Because that note that they need Mariah to hit, Mariah hits that note. That note that Whitney would hit, Whitney hit that note. Now, some of these other things I can kind of play around with. I'm not going to be as polished, but I can play around with it. But it doesn't mean that I'm her. Just because I sung her song, I'm not her. So just because you put Joe Flacco in doesn't automatically make him that dude. He can be serviceable as long as he plays within himself. He ain't going to sit there and try to go get that note. So if you use him that way, you'll be fine. But when you pick somebody to be a number one pick, you're not looking for them to be there. You're looking for them to be able to go get that note. That's what you brought them in for.
Yeah.
He's go get that note. So we need to know, can Richardson go get that note? Can Bryce Young go get that note? Joe says last thing on the karaoke. Let me know when you are doing it in the area again towards the weekend. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah,
Uh,
let me know too. I'll come through, man.
okay, okay, no doubt. I always like going to Noda 101 because they do karaoke 7 days a week over there in off North Davidson. So it's a nice little spot. But if anybody know of any other little spots on the weekend that don't get too crowded too quick, because Noda 101 does, please let me know. I will be there. But I'll definitely let you guys know what's going on with that. Anthony, let me catch up on your comments. When have we seen a number one quarterback that's good? Um,
Huh.
uh,
I'm gonna let me Google that. I'll get back with you.
yeah, okay, yeah. That's a good question. Oh, and then Anthony, you need to stop because you know it's. I keep seeing memes of this anyway. He says, "Oh, I'm ready for the Mariah Carey Christmas song." You need to stop. Because I keep seeing this meme, Rand, of Mariah in her little outfit, and it's a nice outfit. Don't get me wrong. I love Mimi in that outfit. Um, in a block of ice and it's thawing, and you can see
Yeah,
she's ready to start singing. All I want for
yeah.
Christmas is
And
you.
dudes are like, no, no, it's coming, no.
I got friends, man, that it could be March and they're getting ready for Christmas. Um, and it's just crazy. And I've seen that with Halloween as much too, man. There's just some people that it looked like they just could not wait for the month of October, hell, the month of September to come before they started getting ready. Jermaine said, "Hey, man,
Good Lord, man, let's not go back that far. There
I,
gotta be some in
I
between.
hope that's not true.
Yeah.
It might be. If forehead was the last one, that's gonna be hard." Joe says I've done it at Noda 101 before. Fun spot. Rand, you gotta sing though. Oh, Rand can sing now. He be doing it. Hey y'all, in case y'all didn't know, Rand has a couple of bands that he sings with, and this is one of them. It's called Kendrick Cole. Y'all check them out on IG. He just said they will be performing at Brickyard on the 9th of November. It is something to see. They play a lot of 80s, 90s rock. Man, and make it sound like the actual bands. I mean, it's a good time every time.
Dude,
So
appreciate that. That is the best compliment. That's what we're after. So I thank you for saying
yes,
that.
yes. I mean, when you hear it, it's almost like you getting a mini concert every time you go there. They put on a hell of a show. They do not take a lot of breaks. These guys keep playing and playing. Hey, you never see anybody from Kendrick Cole go.
Yeah, we on tapped out. We
They
on
don't tap
tapped out.
out. When they're done, they're done. But they do not tap the hell out on you. So I will say that about Kendrick Cole. They play till the end. They play till the wheels fall off. So it is a good time. And it's a good band to follow. Rand also has some other cover bands too. Alice in Chains cover band. Lord, name just escaped me.
Lenny Kravitz cover band. Yeah.
And Lenny Kravitz cover band too. So yeah. Jermaine says you could argue for Cam Newton because he was an MVP. Okay. And
So
Joe says, "Bang, I'm there." Where's that again? Oh, Brickyard.
yeah.
So if you're at the corner of Bland Street and South Tryon Street,
Mhm.
Brickyard is basically there on the corner right beside the parking lot, the parking spots that are right there. But that's Brickyard right there, and they just opened up that parking area on the other side of the street where the food truck used to be. So you got even more parking. Plus, there's plenty of parking if you come down Bland Street, where Bland and I think that's College on that side. Bland and College are there's a parking spot right there. He said, I'm gonna come check you out, Rand. Joe, you'll love it. And if you coming, I might actually have to pop up in there too.
Dude,
Um,
that's what I was about to say. If you coming, Lowry, B, you got to come too, man.
yeah,
So
yeah,
let's just make it a little fellas hangout that night.
yeah. Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. First round on me. But yeah, it's definitely good. If you like some man, they be playing everything, man. They be playing everything. Let's go. Let's do it. What time does it start, Rand?
So 10:30 start. That's the only thing that's keeps a lot of people away. It's 10:30 to 1:30. But if you can stand the late hours, it's a great time.
I mean, yeah, I mean it's some nice talent that walk around in there too. So we can do a little gazing while we waiting. I'm just keeping it real. There's some talent walking around. I mean, the atmosphere is not going to make you feel bad about being there at 10:30 at night. As the kids say, for sure. It's not at all. You'll love it. Trust me. So speaking about um, uh, 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 quarterbacks not playing well, and then he said that's even better for me. I get off at 8. Love to see the talent. Oh yeah, you'll definitely love it. We'll definitely remind you of it again, Joe. Um, Jermaine, Jermaine, yes, come, yeah, Jay. Won't you come? Because that's a very good reason. Um, because listen, Jermaine, I never thought about Puerto Rico being a floating island of trash, and I ain't trying to make this political because I've always appreciated a good Puerto Rican woman. And yes, there are some big booty Latinas there. Man, back to sports, man. Y'all, yeah, because I can go left real quick. Especially Jermaine distracted me talking about big booty Latinas. I'm there too.
Man, he about made me spit my drink, man.
Look, Jermaine, my wife might be looking. We coming for the music. Anywho's, oh my gosh. So I joked a long time ago that the only way that the Cleveland Browns would not play Deshaun Watson is if he got hurt. And he got hurt, and people were feeling some kind of way because fans were clapping. Which is crazy because, them fans didn't want his ass in there to begin with. My goal is to make Randall laugh once an episode. Okay, yeah, you got it.
Yeah, accomplished.
It's accomplished. So, the Cleveland Browns this week started Mr. Eat W. Jameis Winston. Mr. Crab Legs himself was behind center. If you don't know what the Crab Legs reference is, then I am dating myself. But just Google Jameis Winston Crab Legs in Florida State, and it'll make sense to you.
Yeah.
Anthony, we coming for the music, but Latino big booties are bonus.
Hey, who are we to argue?
Look, whatever get your ass there, can just come. I'm gonna tell y'all right up front. That's all it's gonna be is a whole bunch of big booty Latinas. If that's gonna get y'all there, and then y'all get mad at me later and say, "Where the Latinas? Where the mommies?" I'm sorry, they're on break. They're in a union. What can I say? But anyway, the Browns started Jameis Winston this week at home against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, look, it's a divisional opponent. It's the team that left in the middle of the night to go to Baltimore. All of that stuff. So there's a history, but it is the doo-doos, and they've been playing like straight dookie. So we didn't expect much out of the Browns. And we didn't really know what Jameis Winston was. Now, the last time a quarterback played that wasn't named Deshaun Watson or Mr. Masagi for the Cleveland Browns, it was Joe Flacco, and he was really balling out for the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to sneeze. I'm so sorry.
Bless you, brother. Bless you.
I hit my mute button. Couldn't get to it quick enough. It was Joe Flacco, and he was balling. So the idea was, I was ready that time. So the idea is that once a healthy Deshaun Watson had a full offseason to recover, came back to the team, that they could just pick it up and keep on going with a healthy Deshaun Watson. He's been straight garbage this year, not pushing the ball down the field, not getting the receivers open. There have been some drop balls and things like that, but a lot of it has just been Deshaun's poor play. Then he coming out talking about they don't pay me to run. And I'm sitting there thinking, no, bro, they paid you to do a lot more than run. They paid you to cut the grass. They paid you to do a lot of things.
They pay you to do everything.
Everything. I mean, everything. You need to open up. My man's allergic to the Browns garbage. Yeah, probably so. Guy ain't start sneezing. I start talking about the doo-doos. But anyway, so they bring in Mr. Jameis Winston, who last time I believe he started was for the New Orleans Saints. He'd been on the team and everything, But everybody pretty much knew, hey, they need to sit Deshaun Watson. But the only reason they were keeping him out there, it was a financial decision more than it was what's for the best interest of the football team. They weren't willing to just cut their losses, say they made a mistake. We paid this man when we shouldn't have, and it's just not working out the way that we thought. It's possible that Deshaun Watson's best years were left back in Houston before everything just started derailing. It's hard for people to admit when they make a mistake. It's even harder for NFL executives to do that because they feel like that they got to get it right all the time. You can't get it right all the time. But continuing down a path that you know is not going to get you anywhere is just foolishness because the fans can sniff it out a lot sooner too. The local media can sniff it out and they're like, okay, you're obviously playing this guy not because he's your best option, it's because you paid him the most money. Now, Jameis Winston comes in. Now, this could be the Andy Dalton effect. The new guy comes in and plays one game and balls the hell out. But did he ever? He threw 41 times and hit 27. He threw for 334 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Baltimore Ravens defense.
And the game-winning touchdown on top of it.
And the game-winning touchdown. I'm sorry. I did say the Doo-Doos beat the Ravens.
I couldn't believe it.
He had no interceptions. He threw, man, there were receivers on that team that was like, oh, we ain't never seen this. What is this? Oh, it's a ball. Oh, wow. Cedric Tillman had 99 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was eating. You had some other receivers that were getting in. Elijah Moore, 88 receptions for 85 yards. Hell, Jerry Jeudy, I thought he was a lost cause. Nope, it was just Deshaun Watson. Jerry Jeudy, 5 receptions, 79 yards, 15.8 per carry. Njoku, the tight end, 5 for 61. Njoku, you need to keep doing that. I just picked you up on my fantasy. I need you to do that. So he threw to 8 different receivers in this game. So the guys were there. He was doing his thing. He only ran twice for 2 yards, so he didn't do it. But he let Nick Chubb do most of the running. Him and Deontay Foreman do the running and stuff. But again, 27-41, 334, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Very good game for Jameis Winston. And again, all that did was make the Browns look worse because it was obvious that they had a better player and a better option to Deshaun Watson, but their own pride kept them from doing it, which is why I said the only way he gonna get off the field, and I said the same thing about Bryce Young, that the only way they're gonna stop playing him is he gonna have to get hurt. Jermaine says Deshaun is like Tiger Woods. The scandal changed their pregame routine, and now they aren't the same. Deshaun needs those massages to get back to those Houston days. The man is too tight and needs those happy hands in order to give Brown fans a happy ending. You just thought about all that on the fly.
What's wrong with your brother, man? What's wrong with your brother? What's wrong with your brother?
Jermaine, I think the Brown fans do want to have a happy ending. That was a great way to put it. So, so Jermaine, I guess to expound on what you're saying is, if you rub my back, I'll rub yours.
Boy, oh boy, to be a fly on the wall in the Parker household back in the 80s, man, I could only imagine.
It was pretty much like this. Anthony says, you think Winston was good because it wasn't no film on him? No, because there's plenty of film on Jameis. And as long as he's been in the league, he pretty much is who he is. They're not bringing him in and trying to change his footwork or work on a whole lot of stuff with him. He's the backup for a reason. They don't expect him to play that much. All they expect him to do, going into a full week knowing that he's going to be the starter, is get a lot of the first team reps, be able to work with his timing, with his receivers, handoffs with the center, things like that, understand the playbook, understand what the checks are, audibling, that kind of thing, hard counts, all that kind of stuff. silent counts if it's really noisy and things like that. Those are the things that he has to prepare and work through. But when you talk about, hey, when he takes his 3-step drop, is he's whipping all the way around and all that kind of stuff, or is he throwing a really tight spiral and all of that? They not going, because those are the things that you have to do during the off season. Those are the things that you have to do in training camp. You can't do that mid season and stuff like that. It's like trying to take a pitcher and change the way he throws the ball during the 5th game of the World Series.
And as you say that, we got to hope these damn Yankees pull out one more, man. Last night was sweet, but we need another. Come on, Yankees. Come on.
We got went out.
Yeah, can't lose again.
You spotted them 3. You can't lose another one or it's over. So yeah, absolutely. I hope that's all it was, is that we just wanted them to feel overconfident and we just gonna come in and crack that ass in these last 4. You got to play the 7 to win now. So anyway, there's my Yankees. Jermaine, I'm gonna save that comment in some kind of time capsule because it was just too good. It seemed like you really thought. It would seem like you really thought that through, but I know you, and I know that just came off the top of your damn head. That's the crazy part. You would think that he really thought about that. He didn't. He's just that way. So, anywho, so the Browns ended up with a victory. I thought that was really crazy to be able to bring in Jameis, and for that reminded me of Jameis when he first came out, when he was just slinging that ball around at Tampa Bay, and he had a lot of 300-yard games at Tampa.
I will say this about Jameis, man. He says some crazy stuff, and he's kind of a peculiar Alabama dude, but he's a leader, dude. He is a leader. He's a leader of men. That's not to be argued. Those Browns, they've rallied around this guy, and you could see that even before he got the starting job. It was him that the players were taken to, like in practice and stuff. Not Deshaun Watson. Watson had no connection with these dudes. So I want to say I want to see more from Winston. But if it keeps going this route, look, Panthers. I know this is premature, but y'all need to go ahead and get Bryce up out of here, and let's bring Winston to Carolina. I'd be willing to give that a shot.
I would too. Now, before I go into my next segment, I would like to play this one.
Is this your year?
You guys can point the finger at him.
Is this your year?
You can talk about the base.
Is it fair?
And if you do that, it's really unfair.
Do what you always do.
It's really unfair.
What about Dak?
It's my quarterback.
What about Dak?
It's my team.
How about it?
And if you guys do that, man, it's unfair.
Another year, same results.
Lost as a team. We lost as a team, man.
DC failed. For L. Fail.
I'm ready today. How about him? How about him?
Greg said those are fire shades though, and he also said I was dropped as a baby. Forgive my random thought. But we do. We understand. I saw the drop in, and I think I had something to do with half of them drops. So maybe it's my fault. Who knows? Who's to say? Next time you do that, add some water to your eyes.
Oh boy.
Hey, Anthony. The problem is, I don't have to do another one. I just have to keep playing this one.
It's just repeat, dude. It's just repeat.
Repeat. Oh my God. So there was some worrying, I guess, from some of the 49er fans that with Ayuk being out, McCaffrey's out, um, Jordan Mason kind of in and out. Now that's a fly ass hat. Yes, it is. But with Jordan Mason kind of being in and out of the lineup, how was that going to affect the 49ers? And this is what I said. And this is what I said looking at the Cowboys schedule even a couple of weeks ago, that they were going to have some games against some teams that did something exceptionally well. Run the ball. If you can run the ball on the Cowboys, you can have a lot of success. Now, I'm not saying they ran the ball well, but I am saying they ran for 223 yards.
They're going to quit.
I am saying that. And the Cowboys only ran the ball for 56 yards. So what I would also like to point out is Brock Purdy ran for 56 yards.
Wow.
So your backfield ran for as many yards as the 49ers quarterback. And this game was not as close as it appeared to be. It ended up being 24-30, but the game really wasn't in doubt. The Cowboys had to score 14 points in the fourth quarter till you make a game out of it. At the end of the third quarter, it was 27-10. So they had to basically go on a 14-3 run just to make the end score close. But the game was already over.
Yeah.
That was
a 49er domination, man. But, most of the time when the 49ers play the Dallas Cowboys, is domination.
It is. Dak seeing ghosts. He threw 2 horrible picks. Just not what you expect out of a $60 million quarterback. But the defense again, but he don't play defense. So I'm not going to put it on there. It's not that he didn't pass the ball to CeeDee Lamb. Lord knows. It seemed like he thought CeeDee Lamb was the only receiver out there. He had 13 receptions for 146 yards. The next receiver was the tight end. Jake Ferguson had 6 catches. So the emphasis was definitely on getting CeeDee Lamb the ball.
CeeDee Lamb probably happy even though they lost.
Yeah, because it's padding his stats, and he may have bonus tied to receptions and yards and touchdowns. So he had 2 touchdowns, so he can tuck that away. Hey, if we're going to suck, at least let me get some money out of it. Again, the Cowboys team is not committed to running the ball. Anthony says, I'm going to start betting the over 0.5 on Dak throwing an interception. You should. Oh, that's a given. Somebody gives you favorable odds on plus 0.5. Hell, I would take the 1. I'd take the full 1. That he throws at least one. Don't go half, because that's kind of scared. If somebody gives you 1 or 1.5, take it.
I just wanted to point out that me and B, when the Cowboys were tossing around the idea of giving this dude an extension, Brian said no. I also said no. The Cowboys gave this dude an extension anyway. Ever since this dude has been paid, his overall not GPA. I'm sorry, not GPA, but his overall, what was that? QBR, thank you. Has been an 85, which is dead average in this league. He's an average quarterback ever since being paid.
Unbelievable. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Currently, he's the ninth in passing. Literally 10 yards. It was the only thing keeping out of 10th is 10 yards by Trevor Lawrence. Just not good enough. He's just not playing good enough. Because even though he doesn't play defense, he plays offense, and there were a lot of 3 and outs. 4 out of 3 games, Dak has thrown 4 out of 3 games. He could do that. I think he's had 3 out of 4. Oh,
yeah. Maybe 3 out of the last 4, maybe.
Yeah, that he's thrown 2 picks. Yeah, because this is why. When the Cowboys get down in points, you abandon your running game, and now you put the ball in your quarterback's hands more than you normally would if you had complementary football being played. If you had a strong running game that set up your play action more, you wouldn't have to lean on your number one receiver so much. Your number one receiver is going to be that guy. If you had a little bit more play action, you'd actually be able to scramble and be able to find other receivers going down the field because you make the defense hesitate with play action because they don't know if you're handing the ball off again. When there's no threat of the run, now these cornerbacks can pin their ears back and wait for you to get ready to release that ball and close in on that ball. And that's what they did a few times. He could have had a few more picks. They just didn't get there fast enough. But that's what happens now is when there is no threat of a run, then that makes the defense more opportunistic. They're just waiting for the quarterback to sit there and make a mistake, and he will.
And you know what? And that's Jerry Jones' fault, man. He's the one that stood pat this offseason, didn't do a damn thing.
Yep.
The best running back in the NFL, standing right in his backyard. Didn't even give him a phone call. So you bring in Ezekiel Elliott as one of your running backs, and then an older than dust running back that you spell him who ain't even ran for a yard so far this year.
Well, but he said Derrick Henry wouldn't really fit their team. And I'm trying to figure out if Derrick Henry had played in that game, you mean to tell me you couldn't have got more than 56 yards out of Derrick Henry?
To which I'm speechless to that statement. That's just the dumbest thing I've ever
heard. What the hell
heard.
does that even mean?
What the hell does that mean?
Even if you could only get him, even if you felt like the system you play, he's not an every down back, and he's more of a first down, second down back, or a second down, third down back. Who cares?
Man, I will take Derrick Henry in a zone blocking scheme, an ISO block scheme, a power block scheme. I don't care. He fits them all. I don't know what this dude is talking about.
More than 56 yards.
Yeah. Thank you.
I mean, damn. He would have worked loose for an 80-yarder. King Henry doesn't fit in with losers. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what it meant, Jermaine. He didn't want to fully say that whole statement. And he just said he didn't fit in with us. Which you're really just trying to say I ain't want to pay him, but without it sounding like you cheat. So you try to just say something else. Well, basically your season is over. Because, like I was just telling my wife the other day, the NFC is very competitive this year. The NFC North has an opportunity to pull 2, if not 3 teams. Chicago's kind of fading a little bit, but Minnesota, even though they took a hiccup this past week with the Rams, but between Minnesota and Detroit, that's 2 teams right there. There's only 3 wild cards. So you have to start looking around and saying, okay, if the East pulls the Commanders and the Eagles, then that's a wild card for one of them. If the North pulls one, that's a wild card for them. There's only one other wild card out there. It's probably not going to be one from the South, but from the West, you may have the 49ers and somebody else. So, or if the Bears end up pulling it off, you definitely aren't going to have the Cowboys sneak in. So if they don't win the division, and it doesn't look like they are, it's going to be hard for the Cowboys to have any chance at this season. This season, to me, is over. They're done. In my opinion, I think not. Yes, do I want them to be done? Yes, but they got to go into Atlanta, and that's not going to be an easy win because they're going to face Bijan Robinson and Algier running game. Then they come home and face Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts running the ball. And by the way, he'll have Devontae Smith and AJ Brown.
That's a loss, man. Just call it what it is. That's a loss.
Then the week after that, you got Joe Mixon coming over from
That's
Houston.
Another ill.
He'll run all up in your ass. Then you get a reprieve about the running game a little bit, not totally, because then you got to play the Commanders in Washington, and Jaden Daniels going to run all over your ass.
Exactly.
Then you got the Giants, and they got a running back now.
And you took the words right out of my mouth because I said the Cowboys' next 4 games are going to be very hard. So they're about to hit a slide. They're
The
not about to come back from.
only way they win the division ran, they have to run the table.
Nah, and it's not happening.
That ain't
And
happening.
I was gonna tell you too, B. You can believe in these Eagles again, man. They back. They back, baby. They
Yeah,
back. They back.
They
They
seem
smashed the Giants. Then they smashed Cincinnati in Cincinnati. They back, baby.
so. I got 2 games I gotta hit before we head out of here. I'm gonna end on your Steelers because that was great, but I just gotta say, Jets fans, how do I say goodbye?
Ooh,
But
what we
it is over. Aaron Rodgers, they need to put you in the trash can. It's a wrap. This project is over. You let Jacoby Brissett team, New England team, beat your ass. It's over.
That was their funeral. That game was their funeral.
That's it. It's done.
That's done.
I don't want to hear any more of your press conferences. Stop bashing the media when they ask you a question. Talking about, well, that's even a bad question coming from you. Don't get mad when they asking you questions. Don't get mad because you had full reign to craft that team like you wanted, the coaching staff that you wanted, and everything else. So when you are 2-6, and then don't give us press conferences where you talking about we'll play a year away from being 6-2. I'm sorry. In the words of the Kenny Green, they are who we thought they were.
Yep.
That's why we took the field. You want to crown them? Crown their ass. Boy, I love that. I love that quote. But they are who they thought they were. The Jets are a joke. The Bills look real. The Dolphins look better, even though they lost. Tua definitely gives that team a better chance to be successful. It was good to see him in there and not have any harm, but they do have an interesting Week 9 matchup in Buffalo against the Bills. And I do not see an upset in that. But to go back to your Steelers beating on them Giants like that. But even though Tyrone Tracy did put some yards on the ground on y'all, again, Russell Wilson, 20 of 28, 278, another passing touchdown. George Pickens, still another good game, four receptions, 74 yards. Najee pounding the ball again. Again, when you have a good quarterback, it makes the run game better and it makes the passing game better. Najee Harris is benefiting from Russell Wilson being on the field because now teams can't just stack 8 in the box. And Najee is now opening up even more. So people that wonder what happened to Najee Harris, nothing. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
You just
that's why I'm just hoping and praying to get one more receiver at the trade deadline because that's going to open things up even more.
Oh my God. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, again, the Giants play competitive football. I will give them that. They are definitely playing for Dable. Daniel Jones. I mean, yeah, hey, Watts sack fumble in recovery. That's what he does.
That's what he does, man.
That's what he does.
He's the quarterback on the defense, dude.
Oh my God. He was absolutely great. So all they do is they just keep winning. The Steelers are currently 6-2 in the AFC, and they're in the AFC North. So, man, congratulations to your boys. They just doing their thing. All they keep doing is winning. Hell, if they win 3 more games, it's gonna be another
winning season. That's the thing, man. I'm asking for 4. Give me 4 more victories. Get me to 10-7. 10-7 gives you like an 80% chance of being in the playoffs. So give me 4 more, baby. 4 more. Come on.
Absolutely. And you guys are on the bye?
Yeah, we're on the bye.
All right.
We're trying to get healthy. Get some health.
Anthony says Cowboys are 0-3 at home. And that's how you know it's over too, Anthony, because even last year when they were having these 12-4, 12-5 seasons and stuff like that, they were winning at home. They were terrible on the road, but they could come home and they were winning. Remember, at one point they had won like 15 straight at home and stuff like that. Now you come home and it's not even a given that you even have a chance to win. Normally, even the odds makers give you 3 points just for being at home, and I don't even see that happening. So we got a nice AFC game tomorrow with the Jets playing the Texans. I feel like this is the death nail coming. This is a good time for the Texans because now with um, Stephon Diggs being out for the rest of the season, this is kind of like a bye week because once you get through this week, you got 10 days instead of just the regular 7. So you got a couple extra days after this game to get you guys healthy. I think Joe Mixon is going to be a whole heavy dose of Joe Mixon in this game. They're going to be playing in New York. And I just think that the Texans will kick a bunch of field goals until they find opportunities to hit touchdowns. And if the Jets can't score more than 17 points a game, they have no chance.
This is their season. If, and that is a capital if they are going to turn it around, it begins tomorrow night.
If not, you need to trade Breece Hall, Braylon. You need to trade. I mean, you just need to go ahead and start wholesaling players. Garrett Wilson. You need. Well, yeah, because the trading deadline is Tuesday. So if you don't win, you already know your season's over.
Yeah, it's a wrap.
Get rid of your high-priced guys and just start playing a bunch of your young guys. So that's going to be an interesting game, Rand. Like I already brought up the Dolphins and the Bills. We brought up the Cowboys and the Falcons. That's going to be a game. You got the Raiders going to Cincinnati. You got the Broncos going to the Ravens. Bo Nix has been playing a lot better lately, but I expect the Ravens to bounce back after an embarrassing loss to the Doo-Doos. The Jaguars are coming to Philadelphia just what the Eagles need. Their defense to work on Sunshine and for their receivers to work on that Jaguars defense. The Sunday afternoon game, you got the Lions and the Packers. That is going to be a game. That's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
And then the last one, the Monday Night Football game, you got the Buccaneers against the Chiefs. And the Bucs slow down Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs may lull you into a sleep the first 3 quarters, and in that first quarter, just take it away. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to be close the first 3 quarters, and I think Patrick Mahomes is just going to find a way to win that game and take that team to 8-0. Then you're gonna start hearing them talks, Rand. I'm already hearing them, and I don't think it's gonna happen. There's gonna be a trip up somewhere in their season of people just trying to figure out when. I don't know what it's gonna be either, but I 17-0, I just don't see it. But I'm looking at their schedule and going, man, it's gonna be hard because all they keep doing is just they win different ways every single week. You cannot figure out what to stop because if you stop one thing, then something. It's like Hydra. You cut off one head, 3 heads grow. It just doesn't matter. So, and a lot of times it just comes down to the coach and the quarterback. They just end up doing you in. So, I don't see them changing. So unless they just have a little misstep, just something that just didn't work or something like that at the end, it's going to be hard to stop them. But I don't see 17-0 just because it's so hard. But after this week, they should be 8-0 for sure.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, that is it for another week. A full show of all the kinds of stuff that we were talking about. Cowboy fans, again, sorry, but it's going to be 30 years now. So just get used to it. Jermaine says Kelsey just caught his first touchdown. Patrick isn't playing like an MVP, and they're still winning. That's the point. Here's the crazy thing. They're 7-0, and they haven't even played their best football yet.
They have not stepped on the gas yet.
Other teams that haven't played their best football, like the Jets, are 2-6. There's a lot of teams that if they haven't played their best football, they don't look good right now. They look like crap. The Chiefs haven't played their best football, and they're undefeated, and they ain't been playing a bunch of pushovers.
Yeah, Kansas City reminds me. You ever seen those fights between Big Brother and Little Brother, where Big Brother just puts his hand on Little Brother's forehead, and Little Brother is swinging away, but Little Brother
can't land a hit.
Can't land a hit, and Big Brother is just holding him by the head. That's what Kansas City is doing to these teams, man.
Yeah, like I don't have to overpower you. because I just know I'm good enough to beat you
Yeah.
when it matters. And that's
Yeah.
all they're doing to them. They're not saying we're going to come in here, we're going to blow you out like Miami used to blow everybody out last year, 30, 40, 50 points. We ain't going to do that. We ain't going to run the scoreboard on you, but we're going to win.
We're going to win.
And at the end of the day, whether we win by 1 or we win by 21, that's all we need for a first round bye. If we have the best record in the AFC, we have a first round bye in the playoffs, and we only got to win 3 games, and you got to win 4.
Yep.
The other reason I don't think they're going to go 17-0 is I think once they clinch the top seed in the AFC, Andy Reid going to start resting players.
Yeah, somebody will catch him. I don't think they'll go undefeated. Somebody will catch him.
Yeah. I think if they clinch first, he'll rest guys at the end if they're still undefeated. But I think that there's somebody going to get him, nick him before that. So anything can happen. It still depends on Patrick Mahomes staying upright and healthy. It's still a long season. Anything can happen between now and then. But the way they're going right now, man, you're going to really have to put it on them to try to catch them.
Whoa, man. Let me switch over. I think Aaron Judge just hit a grand slam.
Oh, I got to go to then. I got to go. All right, y'all. Have a good one. We will see y'all again next week. Y'all take it easy. Peace.